The government has now been shut down for 36 days, and this is the longest government shutdown in history.
So the government has to pass 12 spending bills every year to keep their agencies funded. And when they don't pass anything on time, money legally stops from many parts of the federal government. So that's what a shutdown is.
The reason we're in this government shutdown today is because both parties, Democrats and Republicans, are holding out on each other in a way to pass, as Liam said, more funding to reopen the government. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to NBA Unplugged. It's your boy Charles back with you.
My name's Liam.
And today we wanted to inform you guys a little bit on the government shutdown. So, as some of you all may know, and if you don't, the government has now been shut down for 36 days. And this is the longest government shutdown in history. So we wanted to help give you all a little context about what's going on with the government shutdown, what is a shutdown, and kind of how we got to this point. So I want to turn over to Liam to give us a little bit about what is a government shutdown, and then let's just talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, let's take it all the way back. So what is a government shutdown? Let's keep it very brief here. So the government has to pass 12 spending bills every year to keep their agencies funded. And when they don't pass anything on time, money legally stops from many parts of the federal government. So that's what a shutdown is. Very short and simple. So what actually happens during the shutdown? Well, your essential stuff is still open, like your military, your national security, social security checks and Medicare benefits. We'll get into what that actually is later. And then your U.S. Postal Services. What's not happening right now is some employees, federal workers, are getting furloughed. What that basically means is that they're told to stay home without pay, or they're not getting paid. In addition to that, national parks and museums and passport processing, small business loans are being frozen or delayed. So there are many people impacted by this.
Yeah. So I kind of want to add on to what you had said, but really take it back. Not only take it back, well, let's take it back first. So in 2010, a lot of people have heard of the Obamacare. And if you haven't heard of Obamacare, or also known as the Affordable Care Act, and essentially what that was is it gave people the opportunity, almost like a marketplace, to go out and get health insurance. And the reason we're in this government shutdown today is because both parties, Democrats and Republicans, are holding out on each other in a way to pass, as Liam said, more funding to reopen the government, because Democrats feel Republicans do not want to extend the expiration dates for these subsidies, essentially, which gives people discounts on how much their health insurance costs. And Democrats feel as if the only leverage they have is to hold out on opening the government back up so it can get the attention of the Republicans to extend these subsidies. So that's essentially how we got here. And during COVID-19, these subsidies were up for the same deal we're going with now, and they got extended. It was all through the COVID-19, everything that came out, in addition to stimulus checks, healthcare. These subsidies extensions were also added upon. And so now the expiration date is backed up at the end of this year. And so it's kind of, we're in a tough situation now because the government, again, as we said, I believe it's 36 days now, longest shutdown in history. So we'll talk more. We want to talk a little bit more about it. So I want to turn it back over to Liam, because a lot of people have heard of, okay, I talked about the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare, but can you explain the difference between that, Medicare, and Medicaid?
Yeah, right here you guys are going to learn the difference. So Medicare, Medicaid, ACA, the Affordable Care Act, or the Obamacare, right? Firstly, you have Medicare, and so that's just federal health insurance for people above the age of 65 and older, and some younger people with certain disabilities. Then you have Medicaid, and that's just a joint federal and state program, essentially meaning your state and your federal government, that helps cover medical costs for some people with limited income and resources. But this varies state to state due to the fact that it is a state program as well. And then lastly, you have Obamacare, and that act essentially helps people in the middle round. And you can correct me if I'm not elaborating this correctly, but basically people who are in the middle of the Medicaid and Medicare and want healthcare in that realm.
Yeah, so essentially, like a way to put it, there are requirements for Medicare and Medicaid. And for some people, they make more than again, as Liam said, Medicare, is for people who are older. Well, some people aren't 65 or older yet, so they don't qualify for Medicare. And then some people for Medicaid, which is for lower income. Some people make too much money for Medicaid, and that's living out. I think somebody I quoted 40 to 50 million people, almost as like these middlemen in a way. So that's where the Obamacare and Affordable Care Act came in. But what I want to add on to what Liam said is let's kind of talk about what happens if these subsidies expire. So if it's not clear yet, essentially is whenever you have your healthcare, you pay a premium, and the premium is how much your healthcare costs. Well, with the extension of the Affordable Care Act, these subsidies give people discounts on their premiums. However, what's up for debate right now is these premiums are going to expire. So let's say they do expire. It was done by a study, the Kaiser Family Foundation. They did a study that the average annual premium payment this year in 2025 was $888. Well, they said if these subsidies expire, just in 2026, that number will already be doubled. And that presents a huge problem for somebody who brings in, let's say, $50,000 a year. It's like, if my premium already doubles, that's going to turn some people off to getting healthcare. And that's a debate for another time. Is healthcare a human right or not? But at the end of the day, we just want to emphasize the importance of what's going on right now. And if these subsidies do expire, some people's premium will double, and I've seen numbers that they might even triple as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a great point. I'd love to ask you, in terms of like household going from 888 to 1,904, what do you think the major disagreement is on? Like, why do you think Republicans are not willing to pass this act to extend it? What is the major motivation?
Yeah, I think from my understanding, I believe this is an issue that Democrats have wanted to pass for a while, but with the government being shut down now, sadly, Democrats feel the only leverage they have is to keep the government shut down until Republicans acknowledge what they're saying and say, okay, let's extend these subsidies. But at the same time, the Republicans are coming from a standpoint that they believe if we can handle this once we got to get the government back open.
Yeah.
However, again, it's not saying either side is wrong. It's just, it's sad that and unfortunate that the bipartisan disagreement is at the cost of everyday Americans. Like at my church, for example, they're doing food pantries because some people just don't have food and water in the refrigerator, and it's crazy to see that it all is stemming from this bipartisan agreement at the top. But it's just it's a very unfortunate situation. So yeah, that's what I say to that.
Yeah, I want to elaborate on that. I mean, the amount of people being affected. Let's look at the stats. As of November 5th, over 1 million federal workers are working without paychecks. Another roughly 600,000 have been furloughed. And so the Senate has attempted and failed 14 times to pass a stopgap funding bill. And both sides are just continuing to go at it. What is your thought about how long this may proceed, and what do you think the long-term implications of this are if this proceeds to go for another month or two?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and something I've been thinking about as well. And who knows how long it's going to go on. I watched 60 Minutes this past Sunday, and CBS News did an interview with President Trump, and he talked about how we don't know how long this could last. And I think it's definitely worrisome because, as you said, I mean, today's date's November 5th. Government will shut down on October 1st. People have already missed 2 paychecks. I mean, if we let's say somebody's watching this recording after November 15th, that's 3 paychecks that somebody hasn't received yet. So it's unfortunate. And then we can even go to the comments that have been made by people that, like Liam said, people are getting furloughed. Well, that's just, it should be temporary, right? Like we're just going to lay you off right now until money comes back in. Well, it's been comments that these people might not be able to return back to their jobs. It's a very unfortunate situation. But in terms of timing, who knows? As we get to the holidays, it's an unfortunate time for someone not to be able to collect a paycheck.
Yeah, I want to talk about that specifically. So during the holidays, when companies typically make the most amount of money, more than in any other quarter of the year combined, how does that kind of intersect to Americans not being able to afford the luxury items? I mean, at that point in like December-ish time, what are they, 5, 6, 7 paychecks behind? That's
Yeah.
kind of a
Yeah,
lot.
and I think it even comes back to implications in the stock market. Like,
Yeah.
profits are going to decrease, especially for these consumer and retail companies who, again, like you said, these businesses are very cyclical. So in times during holidays, it's where they make their big bucks.
Yeah.
And so for that to be held back or restrained in a way, we start to see long-term implication, into things such as the market. There was a statistic that came out today that said, as of now, in Q4, we're expecting the US GDP to decline by 2%. And it will probably be recouped over time. So it's not too big a whoa, GDP's going down that much, like, oh, we're cooked. Not necessarily, but in terms of a short-term implication, I think it hits everything from GDP to the markets and how some people enjoy their holidays.
You know, that's crazy. I think we should do a recap.
Yeah.
Maybe we hit almost everything else, and something else you'd like to add.
Yeah. No, I would say, again, we just want to really provide you all information so you all understand what's going on, why it's going on, and then if there are ways to move forward, if there's action you all want to take, if you heard something that stuck out to you that, okay, maybe, I don't know, that maybe call somebody, whatever it may be in terms of trying to help as much as you can in the situations. I would highly encourage maybe seeing if there's anywhere in the community that you can volunteer to a food pantry, because there are really people out here who are seeing the full benefits and unfortunate reality of a government shutdown. So I would say if there's any way to help out, please find a way. I mean, I know I will do the same myself, but kind of want to, Liam, if there's anything else you want to recap.
Yeah,
in
I mean,
terms of, yeah.
just to get what we learned today. So we learned about what a government shutdown is. We learned about why it's happening. You learned about what it actually affects and the long and short term implications of it, and then also why the Democrats and Republicans not currently agree on it. I mean, stay informed. I think that in the future, hopefully it doesn't happen again. We're looking to consensus, but
Yeah.
for
And sadly, I feel like it will, it's almost inevitable will happen again. Hopefully the next time we can make a video, we have better news that the government has been reopened, most definitely. But with that being said, I want to thank you all again for watching this video. If there's anything you learned, share this with one person. And again, man, I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.